we have Marty from ErgoPad. Now, ErgoPad is a project on the Ergo blockchain that works with new projects, helping them come to market. They have a DAO tool set called Paideia that they're putting together. Hopefully I pronounced that right. How'd I do, Marty?
Close. I think you're close.
Okay,
It's
I'll take
Greek.
well.
I don't speak Greek, so I've read Padilla. I don't know exactly though. We need somebody to correct us.
All right. Well, I tried my best. But anyway, being that it's ErgoHack and we have all of these teams putting projects together, I figured who better to have us, on for the AMA today than Marty. So, Marty, tell us about what you guys are doing at ErgoPad.
Okay, so ErgoPad, basically, we're trying to build any software that we think could help the Ergo ecosystem, basically. So, sometimes it's hard for a team to get funding together, or they don't have all the devs they need, or it can be challenging for like Ergoscript for people to figure it out because it's the instructions are kind of all over, and so we've got a few good devs who have kind of figured it out, and especially we've got our Louis Vatra who really understands Ergoscript. He was putting together some of the Ergoscript by examples. So we've got this team. We can help out new projects. We can help them raise funds and that kind of thing. So our whole goal is to really build the Ergo ecosystem. So that's who we are.
That's great. ErgoHack is definitely something that can help new developers dive into the ecosystem, and we need to make sure there's water in that pool. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so ErgoPad does kind of help fill that role where, potentially if you have multiple projects beyond even ErgoPad, how many projects right now do you have kind of in the pipeline?
There's tentatively, there's probably about 3 or 4 projects working right now. Padilla is like an internal project, so we've got our own devs working on that one, and we've sourced out like a UX developer and stuff. But we've also got a few other projects that other teams are building, and then we'll try and help them raise the funding they need so they can keep working.
That's wonderful. It's one of those things.
Yeah. That's cool.
Oops. Yeah, I would like to see developers that come into ErgoHack potentially have a path to market, and ErgoPad is definitely a organization that can help facilitate that.
Yeah, if any of the teams from ErgoHack feel they want to take their project to the next level, like maybe they get so far over the weekend, but you can only do so much, and then if they decide that we could package this, we could make it blockchain as a service, we could do something with this. Let's take it to the next level. I mean, we're happy to talk to anyone who's interested. So
that really is important, because I keep talking about commercialization. I keep talking about bringing projects to market and to really creating something that people care about. Makes people care about Ergo, because I am a harsh type of person sometimes, and one of the harshest critics of myself is myself, and of the products and services that I support is myself. And so always ask, why should people care? And of course, there are answers to that. With Ergo, these answers are really obvious, but it's not just about answering it one time, right? You have a vehicle for projects to be out there to show people time and time again why this ecosystem is important, and to reach customers and to reach the outside world so that we can expand the ecosystem. So that's why it's crucial to have teams like ErgoPad working in our ecosystem to help out projects. So really happy to have you here with us today. So Joe, about we do a couple of updates, and then we can get back, maybe get some questions for Marty, and kind of mix it up a little bit.
Sure. My biggest update is going to be that the weekly developer update this week is going to come out later next week. I want to try to step aside and kind of highlight the hackathon teams, what they're building, what they're doing. So hopefully those of you that look forward to that can be a little patient. I would prefer that the spotlight not be on me this week. In terms of the core development, we're still pushing towards Node 5.0. Alex has been working on testing EIP 27, and once the documentation for that is together, we'll get a better answer from some of the mining pools that have been kind of on hold, waiting to see exactly what's coming. We also are seeing some pretty neat development with the NepoPal implementation, but more documentation will come out on that in the future.
Awesome. Well, yeah, this ecosystem is, especially in the past, I'd say month and a half, months, it feels like we're just things are popping off, development projects, new people joining the ecosystem. It's really great to see this kind of stuff happening around us. So what is happening from my end? Well, again, it's been a full week. And well, first I wanted to touch on the new exciting project coming into to our ecosystem. ErgoHack. Welcome, guys. Thank you very much for joining the Ergo Hurricane, as I call it. So as many of you know, ADA handle issues unique IDs, they're NFT-based IDs that can then be used for different purposes, just basically as a one key solution for a variety of wallets, exchanges, whatever else. Fix a lot of authentication issues there might be in the ecosystem. So really great addition. I'm really excited about this. We've been working with these guys for several weeks now, I think actually over a month now, to get this introduced into the ecosystem. When Mint is going to come really soon. And this is something that this is something that somebody's asking in the chat. Something you might want to ask the ADA handle team, but from what I've heard, they are literally right now working to finalize things and get that sorted out. But again, for information. Also, another question that we've been asked is about interoperability. So yes, we are going to be concentrating on that. We're going to be figuring out the best and the most straightforward way to move forward on having these handles be interoperable between Cardano and Ergo. So again, a really exciting development, and I'm really excited to be able to finally announce this, because there are things going on in the background, but I'm the type of person that doesn't really like to talk about deals in too much detail until these deals are ready to go. And so here's one. So another thing that we've obviously been concentrating on, as we have been for the past couple of months, is building bridges and building mechanisms to be able to put us on dexes and to integrate with dexes. And so we're actively working on this so that we could get more volume going and basically bring Ergo to more people. So an active development right now. The same as with tech partnerships. We're closely working with several potential partners on different things like prototyping solutions, UTXO-based solutions, and whatnot. And these are also, there's going to be very interesting and very exciting partnerships. And once they do come to fruition, we will let you know more about them, and we'll announce them. But it's really exciting stuff. Really kind of pushing the ecosystem to its to its limits, and I think that is going to really widen our horizons. Another thing that I have been working on with Joe is the ecosystem fund. So this is a combination of working with entities that specialize in ecosystem funds, plus other ecosystem funds to be to potentially included in what we're in what Ergo is doing. So again, this is something that's needed, I believe, and this is something that we are actively working on to facilitate for the community. So the next item is PR. And so again, we are concentrating on many different things. We're concentrating on the website rebrand right now. That's pretty much ready to go. Organize all the documentation, to start getting blogs out there, to start getting more materials out there, to start having regular press releases as well. So we're about to start executing our PR strategy in the next couple of weeks. I believe we're going to start with the website rebrand and then push on from there, and just to basically get the news out about what's going on with the Ergo ecosystem. And that's about it from my end. So let's go to the questions. Well, first of all, I'd like to kind of hear a little bit from Marty. What excites you most about what's happening in the ecosystem right now? I mean, for you being a very prominent project in the ecosystem, what seems to be like the biggest movers forward for the Ergo ecosystem right now?
Oh, there's so much going on right now. I think, we've got new wallets coming up with dApp connectors, which for me was like the biggest hurdle that we had to overcome was get people wallets. I mean, there wasn't even there's still actually, I don't think the iPhone wallet is fully available on the Apple Store. I think it's still test flight mode. So this is a huge barrier for a lot of people. Like if you just have an iPhone and you go on and try and download it, and it's like, this is beta software, things like that. Getting Nautilus wallet working, getting Yoroi is actually improving as well a little bit, and it's out of the Yoroi nightly version, and now it's like the full version has your dApp connector. So all these things are huge, and it's going to allow us to build all kinds of stuff on Ergo. You see, like, Ethereum does all these things with huge gas fees, and it's, on top of that, it's the accounting model. So there's also various security issues that, you hear exploits constantly. I think Ergo has really the opportunity to step in and say, we don't have gas fees. We have a safer system for true DeFi functionality. And we're starting to see that come in now that we have the software to do it. So we're excited to bring everything that ETH does and just do it better, Like, that's why we have the DAO software we're trying to build. I noticed somebody's doing .ergo and .sigma domains for Web3. I think I just saw that yesterday. And then you guys mentioned ADA handle. Things like that, all that functionality is excellent. We've got ENFT coming where anyone can display their NFTs. It's sort of like DigitalOcean for Erg. So there's so much in the pipeline. We're starting to see some games come on, and ours, Dark Pool, is going to be really interesting to see how they implement with Ergo. So there's so much coming. I'm excited.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just like to, of course, guys, don't get me wrong, I am excited about all the teams, but I really wanted to give out props to the Nautilus team and Captain Nemo.
Yeah.
I still feel a little silly saying that, but what the hell? This is the blockchain world. We have anonymous. So Captain Nemo and the Nautilus team, awesome job, guys. Really keep it up. And as I said last week on social media, I would really like to see the way the Nautilus team is developing their software, the paradigm that they're using to develop their software to really be the standard of how software is developed and applications are developed in the Ergo ecosystem, because it's great. I think that they're very receptive to community feedback. They focus on things that they see as the most important are the most important items for the community, and they also leave just leave things open so that there are other applications and other wallets, other dApps that can come in and basically utilize the same ecosystem, and everybody can live in harmony. So kudos to the team. I personally use it myself. Really Love it, and please keep on keeping on. So, we have a few questions coming in already, and why don't we start off with the first one for Marty? So let's see. Question for Marty: why did you choose the Ergo blockchain for ErgoPad?
I saw it as such a great opportunity. You know, it has so much potential, but no, there's so many, so few things that are already built. I mean, there's so much on the back end that Kushti's already made, like NepoPow's giving you the ability to have a wallet on your cell phone that directly integrates with the blockchain without requiring a third party to submit your transactions to the node. And you know, the fact that it's EUTXO, it really comes back to how Bitcoin does everything, but with the added benefit of smart contracts. You know, and it's done that for quite a while now. It's just that nobody's really came and built the software yet. So I felt that it was just a huge up and comer. It's a lot of stuff is a little bit further along and has these huge ecosystems, but various drawbacks at the base level. So I think Ergo really has advantages at the base level and no or very little software that's ready yet. So that's where we decided to come in and try and build that out and make it easier and more accessible for the average user. So
yeah, excellent. That's a very really good point about why Ergo. Why Ergo is because also it's really early, still an ecosystem, and so the foundational fundamentals are incredible. They're so strong, and there's still so much opportunity to bring real innovation and real utility to the ecosystem because all these things are still being built up. So that is just that's actually one of the main reasons why I'm building in this ecosystem right now. Okay, and so we have another question for Mark, and so let's see, what is your biggest competitor Launchpad, and how are you going to be better or just as good?
There's a lot of competitors out there. I mean, people have mentioned Polka Starter and various other things, but we look at what they're doing. We try and emulate the things that we like about what they're doing, but at the same time, we're the only launchpad on Ergo. So I know I'm hoping more will come along and we'll get some competition and we'll build out the ecosystem together. But we look at what they're doing and we just always try and think, can we do this on Ergo? If we do it on Ergo, will it be better? Or, I mean, on the recent, we did some market research for Paideia, and we tried out the Ethereum versions of a DAO toolset. We tried out Solana. So there's some really good stuff out there, but there's always opportunities. So we do our best to analyze what they've done well, what we like that they've done, and we'll implement our version of that. But we also try and see where did they fall short. So we do like a sort of a SWOT analysis, but a little further than that in terms of UX and things like that. So we definitely keep an eye on everything and try and fill in the gaps and improve where we can. So
excellent. So there is a quick question here from Husky Dex. Hey Dan, can we get Charles Hoskinson on as a guest host? Well, while I can't promise anything, obviously, because I'm not the every circle of Charles's schedule, I will try my best. I am going to talk to Charles, and I actually already had this planned, so I'll do my best to get Charles on one of the AMAs or maybe even an episode of the Ergo Pulse. So we'll see. Let's see, what is another good question here? Oh, and here's actually another really good one for Marty. So which projects are missing on Ergo to get fully functioning DeFi ecosystem going?
I think it's great that we have ErgoDex. Because of ErgoDex, we're going to be able to do so much more. But when you look at what other DeFi projects can do, I mean, like there's loans, there's margin trading, there's bots, like arbitrage bots and all kinds of what do you call it, where the bot will try and sell high and buy low for you automatically and just run in the background. Things like that hasn't been built. We want to get some ML and some AI scanning tools to sort of figure out where you have opportunities that somebody wouldn't necessarily notice that the machine learning project can figure out for you. There's all kinds of things. I wasn't expecting to answer this question. We have a whole list of projects that we have on the back burner, but we're sort of honed in on Paideia right now as an internal team. Once people can build DAOs and release their own IDOs, and I think an NFT minting project would be good as well, where an artist can come and just make the NFTs they want without needing to learn the backend code on how to do that. There's all kinds of things. I don't want to say too much because we might give away some of our plans, but yeah, definitely there's a lot in the pipeline for sure.
Thank you. So let's move to something else. Okay, and this is actually a good question for Joe, and this is from Wombo22. Curious what Waves Enterprises is up to.
Sure. I just heard from Waves Enterprise this week. They are ready to go to the next phase of kind of their Oracle implementation, where they're trying to create commercial partners that basically run smart contracts that are empowered by our Oracle solution. Now, part of, let's say, the delay is just research, in development, where you need to authenticate data, not only on the Ergo blockchain, but as we bridge it to another blockchain, how do we, let's say, create assurances within the Oracle security model that the data is good. And that's kind of been in testing and just making sure that the product that they deliver is solid.
Awesome. Thanks, Joe. So here's another question from Hosky Dex. And Dan, is it true that Sigma Valley will host an AMA? Well, I haven't spoken to Sigma Valley about hosting an AMA or being on an AMA, but I'd love to have them on one of our AMAs. I was going to say animes. I've been in Japan too long, so instead of AMAs, anime. But anyway, I'd love to have Sigma Valley and Ilya on an AMA, and this is I hope that Ilya doesn't want to kill me after this, but I would really like, and this is something I spoke to him about, but I would really like to potentially host a virtual Ergo summit in Sigma Valley at that point. I think it would be really cool. I think it would really bring really good utility to the Ergo metaverse, and just be an interesting experience. And I think using our homegrown metaverse would also be really good, and would give Ilya and the team the ability to expand the metaverse product, with real users. So just would love to see that. Let's see. Okay. So here's another question from Marty. Let's see. Will ErgoPad be helping projects in terms of checking their code and helping with Ergoscript?
Yes, we definitely do that. All our devs are getting familiar with Ergoscript. We've got some specialists as well, and we're also building Python tools on the back end to allow somebody who's more familiar with Python to do all that type of interaction with the blockchain. So we'll that's sort of like our biggest strength, is the fact that we've got some great Ergoscript developers. So and Louis Vatra's building brand new stuff on Ergo, so he'll be able to look at anyone's code and say, okay, yeah, this is possible, I've done this, and we can even use some of our code once we've built it. May as well just reproduce it for somebody else if that's what they need. So that the short answer is yes, we'll definitely help with the Ergoscript.
Excellent. Thank you. Well, let's see. Marty, you've opened up a can of you know what here, because we're getting a lot of questions for you right here. Let's see where there's quite a few, actually, quite a few good ones. Okay, well, here's actually a good question, a contrast question. Marty, what was your biggest dev challenge building ErgoPad?
I think our biggest challenge when we started out, Leaf and I were the only ones developing, and I had recently learned how to develop in React, and we had to figure out quickly how to do all these things we planned to do in order to launch as quickly as possible. We didn't want to miss the end of the bull run there, so you know, I had to really get up to speed quick. Leaf had to learn. He had to learn kind of Ergoscript to try and put together the code for what we had envisioned, and it was just, you know, I don't know if anyone who's listening has tried to learn how to develop on Ergo, but if you read the white papers, they're quite high level. I mean, some of the math behind it and some of the descriptions are pretty complicated. Like, I found that if I didn't have a master's in computer science, I don't think I would have been able, or I definitely wasn't able to read all the details of the white papers. So, you know, we did our best, and luckily we found some other devs to join our team, and now I feel pretty confident in the skills that we have, and that whatever we need to do, we can pull it off. But at first, when it was just Leaf and I learning as we went, it was a bit touch and go, but we got here and everything's working great now. So
great. So another question that I think and so I know I did not skip on saying your name, Egger, sir. Juggernaut, Mr. Juggernaut.
We got a cheat code, Dan. You can just say Augie.
Okay. Ergo. That's it. Ergo. That's how you pronounce your name. I did not skip. Okay, so I hope you're happy, Mr. Ergo. So let's see. Another good question here is, what projects will be launching on ErgoPad and which one will be first? Is this something we can talk about right now, Marty?
I can definitely talk about Padea and Darkpool. So Darkpool is going to be basically you're a lone Ergonaut and you've been transported to a new planet, and you have to figure out your way to get off that planet. And it's really, the visuals are going to be really cool, and I think they wrote their own engine for the game. I think it's a 2.5D engine, so that's looking really good. You can join their Discord. You can check out their website. I think it's Eterneon Games. That's like an AEON at the end there, .io. If you can't find them, join our socials. We can always link you over. But that team's doing some really cool stuff. And we'll work out how to get the NFTs out there so you guys can pick up the NFTs. They'll be implemented in the game. So your character and items, things like that will all be NFTs. So that's coming up. And the team's starting to release some visuals. And then we've got Padea, which is like it's a DAO tool set. So if you want to start a DAO or raise funds, or even if you're just like an investing group, you know, say you want to invest in something that has a minimum investment of, like, for example, just 20K US or something, and you only have 5 yourself and you got 3 friends with 5, how do you trust the person who's holding that wallet? So we'll give you a tool where you can all pool your funds and everything's voted on, just like any DAO. You can interact with any blockchain smart contracts through the DAO wallet, vote on decisions, things like that. And even if you're the type of team, like if you're a startup or a group of devs who are trying to raise some funds, like if you want to kickstart something like that, you can do that through Paideia. So you'll be able to do an IDO or an ICO. We'll have various methods. So you can do like first come, first serve. You could do an interactive token offering, which is a bit like a Dutch auction. So the price discovery happens based on the demand, and you don't have to set it. Dan looks like he's falling asleep.
No,
Am I
so
talking too much?
somebody in the comments. It wasn't for you. I was reacting to somebody and then saying to put my screen higher. It looks like I'm falling asleep. So it was just kind of that was reaction to that. Not to you, Marty. Keep on going. Sorry.
Okay.
That didn't,
am I
didn't
talking too much? No.
No. That's totally. We'll fix it in post. We'll fix it in post.
Yeah, the live stream for sure. So it's gonna, yeah, basically it'll give you anything you want to do where you want to share funds with people, will allow you to do that. And if you want to raise funds from the community, will allow you to do that too. And it really removes that barrier for if you're not a dev, you don't know how to build the backend software to do that, we'll get that out of your way, make it easy. So if you just want to focus on the art or whatever project it is, you can do it that way. So we're kind of building that first because we need it for our teams as well. So it's kind of a jumping point.
Yeah, actually, I personally would like to have a more streamlined way to invest in projects in the Ergo ecosystem. And yeah, I think what you're talking about is actually really good because I would like to see a more formatted way of having my own investments and bringing investments into the Ergo ecosystem, because I have connections with investors, and it would really help to bring them into a structured environment. So really excited about that. So let's see. Another good question. Let's see. Well, Ergo said, Ergo, go, go, go. Oh, thank you, sir. We will go and go. Yeah. Let's see. There was a question here. Oh, I see. Yeah, there it is. So, from BK, any plans to integrate with other wallets such as CC Vault? Actually, I have spoken to the CC Vault team. We're currently of course, they're interested in Ergo. But we need to keep talking, and I will do my best to bring CC Vault into the ecosystem. But I believe it would be a great addition. I personally use CC Vault, and yeah, if we could bring them into the ecosystem, that would be fantastic. So let's see. Another good question here is, okay, so there's a good one from Marty. What projects would Marty like to see that hasn't been created or approached from hasn't been created or hasn't approached them yet? So would you say, Marty?
That's a good question. Projects.
Well, I mean, this is basically this is a good forum for you if you do have projects that you would like to interact with that you haven't had a chance to reach out to, or hasn't reached out to you. This is a good forum for you to kind of speak to them and talk to them and let them know that you're interested.
Absolutely, yeah. We've got an apply form on our website too. So if you do have some ideas, send them over. I mean, we'd love to help any team out. Doesn't matter what your team structure is. Send the idea over. So.
Yeah, I'd be happy to answer that. One thing I would love to see be explored on top of Ergo would be synthetics, where you take a real world asset and you kind of create a synthetic collateralized version on chain. And that can take on a huge segment of the market, whether it's stocks or real estate or, any other asset off chain. So hopefully, somebody out there is interested in creating a mechanism to create synthetics on Ergo, and, gives Marty a fill up the form and apply. And, hopefully by that time we have the DAO tool set to help.
Is that also stuff like a real estate deed or like dental records, things like that? Is that what you mean?
Well, it usually is more asset based versus like record based, which would be the dental. But you may have let's say a person holds a stock off chain, and they kind of collateralize it and create a synthetic version of it on chain, and then you have the ability to open up, let's say, on chain security to off chain assets.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So another good question here, and this is a good one for Joe, actually. Is there any plan to create a bridge to Polkadot and Kusama ecosystems and its parachains?
At this point, there's not a direct plan. It's certainly something we would be open to. I know they have, let's say, limited kind of chain auctions. And then it's just a matter of saying, okay, well, what would be the cost on our end and what would be the benefit? That's not something I've directly looked into, but sure, it's possible. Now whether that makes sense at this point, I would say it's a future question to answer.
Great. So another question for Joe is: Are there any details available for what kind of L2 scaling solutions Ergo is looking at?
Sure. So we have a couple of things in kind of R&D at the moment. One of which is plasma channels, which is kind of like a scalable smart contract. You also have the potential to plug in Hydra, which I believe Ergo is even in the Hydra paper that IOG came out with. I do know that Ilya is currently looking into layer 2 solutions to try to create a unified layer 2 that is interoperable with both Ergo and Cardano, which I think what we're going to see in terms of ErgoDex's development. And don't let's say hold me to a timeline because I'm not necessarily on the team, but I believe their first goal is going to be to iterate a DEX on Ergo, which is pretty much done, then roll out on Cardano, then bridge the two together. And then the longer term goal is to create a unified layer 2 solution where you have interoperability with both.
Great. So let's see, another good question. There was one here for Marty. So Marty, is ErgoPad participating in the hackathon?
Not directly. We wanted to. It's just that we were pretty tied up with everything. We just did our IDO, and Louis Vatra is working on the staking contracts, so we're trying to get those launched as soon as possible. But there is, on Sunday, Louis is releasing a video describing how the staking contracts work, and it's a little it's not a high level dev video, so it'll be very accessible to everyone. So we did want to, maybe at the next one we'll host a team. We'll get some people on there. So, but you can follow our code. We're open source, so even though we're not specifically in this hackathon, you can come check out our code and run it in the playground and things like that. So come check it out. We'll be on the next one though.
Great. So I'm sorry. Yeah, thank you, Marty. So here's a question, and we do get this a lot. And so I'd like to actually answer this because just to clear up what this means for me. So and this is actually something that interesting enough I still get with Cardano, and that is Ergo should invest in more advertising. Sounds like I am Ron Burgundy. But anyway, I think it's a question. Do you think Ergo should invest in more advertising? Well, we are looking to invest in advertising, but the question here is what are we advertising, right? So what would make sense to advertise? For example, we spend a whole bunch of money. We get a commercial during the Super Bowl, or sponsor a football team, a soccer team, something where we're big campaign where everybody's going to see the Ergo symbol and going to know the Ergo name. What then? How do you explain in an advertisement like that, or advertising, or a standard way of advertising? How do you explain why Ergo? Because Ergo is an ecosystem, right? And so Ergo has many different parts, projects, technologies, nuances. I mean, how do you explain that? Because we do get quite a bit of these types of questions, and people are asking, well, why don't you just pay advertising agents to advertise Ergo? Well, yeah, but what are they going to advertise? I mean, have you seen many like Ethereum advertisements even? I mean, they see Bitcoin, but that's because people know Bitcoin. You buy Bitcoin, you get Lambos and Moon and all that crazy shit. But what do you? How do you advertise a blockchain? Well, the answer to it is you don't advertise the blockchain per se. You advertise products and services and different nuances of the blockchain. And so this is why I strongly believe that we need to have a strong, and this is something that why I'm so excited about ErgoPad, is more commercial products, more products that can say built on Ergo, right? So it's a DeFi solution built on Ergo. It is a traceability solution built on Ergo. It is a identity solution built on Ergo, so powered by Ergo. Just like, say, for example, powered by Intel, right? So even with CPUs, nobody knows, what the hell is the difference between an Intel processor and a Cyrix 686 processor. I'm talking like 25 years ago, but still I'm old, but they build this brand and then they attached it to things that are more tangible for people. And so that's what we need to do. We need to advertise things that are more tangible for people. So I hope that kind of answers your question. We want to advertise, but we want it to be more targeted. So we need to find pieces and products and services and opportunities on Ergo to advertise. And that is what we will advertise. And that's how we can develop the brand, because just going out there and yelling Ergo, rah, rah, rah is not really going to do much for us, regardless of how much money we spend. And Hosky Deck says that he thinks that the best advertising for Ergo now is just having Charles talk with us, no pay ads, and that he loves us. I'd love to get Charles to be more vocal about Ergo. I am going to try to get him on one of our AMAs, one of our shows. And I mean, we all know that Charles is a supporter of the project. And we're all IOG OGs, me, Charles, and Alex. So, well, we'll see what we can do. Now let's see. There's another. Oh, okay. Well, here's a good question from Marty. A little bit more general, and I think in a way you kind of have this, but why don't you kind of reiterate what you just said? Sorry. What is your favorite thing about Ergo?
My favorite thing about Ergo is to me, I mean, you just mentioned Charles Hoskinson. He's kind of what got me here in the first place, but and people get tired of hearing this, but it's really the spiritual successor to Bitcoin. It does everything Bitcoin did it sticks to the initial philosophies of Bitcoin. It doesn't deviate from that while also adding functionality. Where I think a lot of projects may as well just be Web 2 or may as well just be centralized. I think Ergo really is, the next step in Bitcoin's evolution. We've got now smart contracts on top of UTXO. It's just like, it's exactly what we needed. So that's short and sweet.
Yeah, and it was short and definitely sweet. Sweet as honey. So let's see. There's a good question. Okay, well, here's a question, and this is maybe for Joe. Joe, when Cardano bridge?
Sure. I think the first Cardano bridge we will see is actually going to be UTXO specific. So it will be a dedicated Ergo and Cardano bridge. Now, if you're talking when, right? The two developers that are probably going to implement this on our side are going to be Ilya from ErgoDex and MHS Sam, which, he works kind of all over the place on bridges and Raffle. And so on one hand, I kind of say, okay, it depends on their time, right? That they both are pretty much professional jugglers. I hope that thing that they're juggling kind of lands soon, but that's always hard to tell. What do you just say? Soon. The crypto answer, right?
Yeah.
When will then be now? Soon.
Soon.
Oh, God, I keep forgetting you guys are like 15 years younger than me. That's a Spaceballs reference, okay? Spaceballs. You guys know Spaceballs?
I've seen it.
Yeah, I've seen it. When I was like a kid.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for not telling me that your parents have seen it and told you about it. Okay, anyway, thanks for making me feel old yet again. Thanks, guys. Let's see. Another a good question. Okay, so can you elaborate on off-chain bank implementation? Can you elaborate on that, Joe?
Sure. Basically, if you look at AVL trees, one of the beauties of them is they're mathematically balanced. And so it does open up the potential to create authenticated databases that can be proven on-chain or verified on-chain. That has huge potential use cases, but it takes a lot of, let's say, high-level development. So it's early. It's one of those things that if you really look into what AVL databases can do, it can kind of blow your mind a little bit, but you also have to recognize that it needs to kind of be iterative and be built out, let's say. But great foundation to start from. Did you want to add to that, Marty?
I'm just looking up what you're talking about, actually.
Oh, okay.
No, it's all you.
Yeah, it's really a unique property in, let's say, Ergo's tooling, where it almost creates the ability to create like a application-based sidechain that's not necessarily a sidechain. It's a AVL database that can then be parsed and verified on the blockchain. So in terms of like the application level, there's a lot of different ways that could go that could be very useful and also help prevent congestion. And it depends on the value that it's protecting and what security level makes sense. But it's kind of a really green area that could grow into a pretty intense jungle, really.
All right. Well, there's actually a question here, and this is something that I already touched on today, but I'd like to kind of touch on this again. So when will there be something similar as Catalyst on Ergo? And this is something I spoke about and something that I myself am working on actively, and that is an ecosystem fund, which would be a combination of treasury and an aggregator ecosystem accelerator fund. So Catalyst. Well, Catalyst was envisioned in the original tokenomics of Cardano, and so this was part of the governance phase of Cardano. And so now it is being run by input output, but what we're going to be doing in the governance phase of Basho is we're going to be transferring more and more of the control to the community and essentially fully decentralizing the Catalyst fund. And so Ergo is different just because it was a fair distribution launch, and because 95.5% of the tokens were basically sold to the public, which, it's difficult to have. Unless something magical happens. The Catalyst fund is $500 million, roughly. Not easy to do that with Ergo right now, which is why I am working on other venues and other ways to bring more capital to the ecosystem, so that we could have an ecosystem fund that would be similar to Catalyst, where we could actually vote. The community can vote projects. We have a decentralized control of the funds, and we can essentially do governance in the same way Catalyst has intended to be done.
Sure. I'd like to add to that, Dan. One thing that we do with the Ergo Foundation is we do provide grants. Now, ErgoHack in and of itself is a way to, let's say, have a proof of work based Catalyst fund, where if you come in as a developer and you prove you can work based on the project you put together and the actual development side of, let's say, your project, you can apply. Excuse me. You can apply for grants, and the Ergo Foundation is happy to support tooling that's necessary for the ecosystem, or just help fund good ideas. So to some degree, we do have, let's say, a Catalyst style competition for development funds. And I do think that as we get more launch pads, or even just ErgoPad to start with, let's say in a more mature space, it certainly will help the community launch projects and fund them. And it is kind of nice to have the proof of work aspect first, knowing that, okay, are these devs competent enough, or is this just a good idea that doesn't really have any legs? If that makes sense.
Yeah, and so to follow that up, and this is it's an interesting question. I think it's fair to kind of bring this up, and so maybe we can implement a soft fork where the transaction fee will be raised by 20%, and the 20% go to the development fund. What do you think about that, Dan? I personally don't know about that. One of the most attractive parts of Ergo, at least to me as a business person, as bringing business and doing business on Ergo, is the low transaction fee, is the low minting fees. What would 20% do to that? I honestly, we need to see on a case-by-case basis. And something like this, of course, would have to be, just like EAP 27 would have to be agreed on by the community. And again, if this is that's something the community wants, it's doable. But what do you think about that, Joe and Marty? What do you guys think about this?
That's where I would start. It's up to the miners. You can always put together proposals. You can always let's say, get good ideas and talk to the different mining pools and try to get them behind you. But part of the beauty of Ergo is you do kind of have, let's say, delegation of powers, and that's in the miners. It's just their ability to make that decision. Something like that is potentially interesting, sure, but if the miners support it, it's doable. If not, it kind of ends there.
My question on that would be: is 20% enough? Does it really produce any funding that would be useful, or is it? Because I mean, an Ergo transaction fee is like a tenth of a cent, I think, right now. If Ergo was $1,000 per token, it would be about $1 per transaction, I think, something like that. So that'd be 20 cents per transaction. I mean, maybe that is a reasonable thing to do. Who knows? Something to propose, though. And I don't know if everyone knows this, but you can go on GitHub and you can make your own proposals too. And you can also comment on the ones that are there. So something to think about. If you do have a proposal, put it together, write it up and give some details, and people will think about it and look over it. So something to consider.
Yeah, and I think that if we do get to a point of where transaction fees would go that high, I believe that we'd most likely have. And again, even though Mr. Ergo says that it doesn't matter what Dan thinks, it's up to how the miners vote. Thanks for hurting my feelings, sir. I mean, in a way, he is right, even though he's just hurting my feelings. It's up to the miners, and I think, and also with GetBlock, it's also going to be up to people participating in the vote. But ultimately, I think that this particular ecosystem might not want to have such large fees, and we might experience something where these fees would be dialed down somehow, and we change the transaction mechanism to compensate for that. Because, like I said, our most right now, business-wise, one of our most attractive to me as a business person, one of our most attractive points is the low transaction fees, is low minting fees. Like, for example, where an NFT costs a couple of bucks on other systems, it costs like 1 cent on Ergo. I mean, that is a game changer. That, for example, you have a product where you want to mint a unique identifiers, a non-fungible asset that would represent 1 million units, right? Let's say 1 million bottles of wine, let's say. Each one of them you want to have a unique NFT for. Well, if I have a system, a traceability solution, and I go to a manufacturer and I say, look, I can have this traceability solution implemented into your production line for 1 million units, and he's going to say, okay, how much is it going to cost to outfit 1 million units with unique NFT identifiers? Well, if I tell him it's going to cost him like $2-3 million just to mint the NFTs, that's going to be a deal breaker. But if I tell them that is going to cost them like $10,000, that's very doable. So that's a very attractive aspect. I mean, I know we like to, some of us kind of get upset when things come down to dollars and cents, but that's business, and to me, that's an attractive piece. And that's something that the product that I'm building is actually going to rely on. That's one of the reasons why I find Ergo so attractive, is because I can design a product that can utilize this many NFTs and still be effective enough to offer to somebody without them looking at me like I'm a clown. So, I mean, that's just my 25 cents or 2 cents or whatever, how many cents. So let's wrap up with one last question. Good question for Marty. And let's see. What's a good question for Marty? What's a good question for Marty? Somebody have a nice question for Marty? I'd like to have a question for Marty. Well, okay, Marty, how about I ask you a question?
No.
Sounds good.
Let's can. It's a bit of, it might be a little cliche, but where do you see yourself in 5 years? Where do you see this going? What does ErgoPad look like? ErgoPad 2027 look like? What does it look like to you?
2027 is it's a long way away in crypto, but I hope that we've evolved the tools to the point where any dev or anyone can come onto Ergo and just build whatever they want without as many barriers to entry as there are now. I hope that we can see. I think right now we're just in the building stage. We're just at the base level, just starting out. But I think like by 2027, we should be building full businesses, like you talk about, full businesses on top of blockchain. We should be able to go to the store and pay with blockchain, and specifically Ergo if we can. I mean, like an L2 on Ergo could run Visa level transactions. Who knows? I think that where was I going with that? Once we've built this foundation and we can start really thinking about what businesses would benefit from blockchain, we can really start focusing on that. We can stop focusing on the base level stuff, which wallets work, how to write Ergoscript, things like that will become much more straightforward. We'll have many more devs that know how to do it. And then it's just like, okay, what are the high level ideas? What is the idea that every consumer on the planet would be able to interact with or understand? It's not, we got to get past the innovators and the people who are interested in blockchain because it's an interesting technology. We got to get to the consumer who doesn't care how blockchain works and doesn't even care that it is on blockchain. They just want to use money. So that's where I'd love to see us in 2027 or even sooner.
That's I think we had a similar thing that we brought up yesterday on Bullish Dumplings Twitter space when Joe and I were on her Twitter space yesterday. I think I said something very similar. I said that really we have to get to a point of where the average person doesn't really need to know what's under the hood.
Yeah,
they just need to know that it works, and they need to know that it makes their life easier, and that's why they want to use it, and that's where we need to get to. I don't want to have to explain to my mom what a consensus protocol does. I can just tell her that you use this is going to make when I send you money, it's going to be fast and cheap and easy for you to get to, and you can spend it in other places. It's just, it's that simple. And this is just a very rudimentary example, but again, we don't have to explain why or what's under there. We don't have to explain how. We don't need to have to explain how. Just explain why they should care.
How does it benefit them?
And
yeah,
exactly. What is the benefit? Why should they care? Why is it better than what they already have? There's I'll leave this off with something that I remember from, I think it was like 9th grade history, and I forgot who said this, and this was like I think it was a politician or something back in something like mid 19th century. He said that an American politician, I might not have been a politician, said that everything that is needed has already been invented. And this is back when trains still used lanterns for headlights. I mean, think about that. And this is a paradigm. This is humans think that this way. Everything, when you're living in today, the average person will probably think that everything that they really need has already been invented, because not everybody is an innovator. And when you bring innovation, you have to explain why should they care and why this invention has to be added to that list of things that have already been invented that they need. If you understand that, you will understand what it will take for us to achieve mass adoption. All right, guys. Well, I think this is a good place to wrap it up today. And once again, I would like to wish everybody participating in ErgoHack 3 good luck, or break a leg, whatever you want to, whatever colloquialism you want to use, and whatever nuance. And do you have anything to say for the ErgoHack participants, Joe and Marty?
Sure. One thing I always like to see, because it's not always Ergo ecosystem's strong suit, is documentation. Documentation is really sexy.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Yeah, educational products. I'm a huge fan. I'm a huge fan of education products because they help explain why should people care, why Ergo. So yeah, that would be great if we can get some of that. So, all right, guys. Well, thank you very much, Marty, for coming on our
Thanks
special
for having
AMA.
me.
Yeah, it was a pleasure.
Pleasure, and maybe at some point you can also do an episode of Ergo Pulse with us.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'd love that. Maybe some more of our team could come on that too.
Fantastic. Well, have your people call my people and Joe's people, and
We'll be in
Joe's
touch.
people are actually bears. Yeah, Joe's people are bears, so just be careful. They are real bears. They will eat you. Anyway, all right, guys. Well, that about does it for us for this week. And thanks everybody for tuning in. And wherever you are in the world, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
And good luck.
See you later. Thank you, guys.
Have a good one, everyone.